Trust me.
Are always about to explode.
That's good advice.
To go straight's not hard, but to make it like turning.
As long as you're doing this,
Does that make a difference? Oh, wait, So those are all the different things down there you can get from
Represented by my son up there. He's the only one who didn't say his name. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because they lost some more
Did you guys learn about the, what is a way that in a job?
Oh, it's not very stable. Yeah, it was unstable long time.
Or like you can like mining and stuff like that, so
very much. Yeah, really.
All right, grab the robots and bring them back over here.
Yes, thank you guys.
Seriously, wake up. So we just wanted to say thank you one more time for letting us come and show you some of what STEAM is. I know the students have worked really hard and there was honestly some nerves, but we greatly appreciate you getting to come through and not only help us inspire students with giving them all these cool new experiences, but also helping them be able to try something that could be definitely useful in their futures. And so we greatly appreciate it. We greatly appreciate with the assistance of some of the grants that have come in, such as the Big Red Kino, where they helped us support in the sense of all these and different tools that we are now using. So thank you again for your time. We hope you have a great rest of your meeting. Thank you.
How many all students does the school have?
Currently we have 6.
6.
So you're seeing all 6 of them.
Thank you so much. That was really good. You guys are really good, really fast.
Really good.
Really good. You're in great hands. Okay, the next favorite thing after focus on the students is our award for excellence. Says you're announcing no. Oh.
No, I got it.
Okay.
That was awesome.
She was thinking, well, no one told me. If you want to, you can. She won't know exactly what she's all announcing, but.
I know who it is.
Right. And if our students are sticking around, you're welcome to stay. If you and your families are leaving, it's okay to leave at this time also. Don't feel bad if you're leaving. It's up to you. Games are important too. So I get to present the Award for Excellence this evening, and we, for those that aren't familiar, we have a committee that gets together and reviews nominations for our Award for Excellence for staff members that are always going above and beyond and doing a great job and always putting students first and everything that makes them be looked at for an award. And anyone can nominate a staff member. We have peers that nominate staff. We have supervisors. Parents can nominate staff. So each month we go through our nominations and make a selection based on what our committee feels is what we want represented with the Award for Excellence. And this month we have our Norfolk Public Schools instructional coaches that were nominated and are receiving the award. So if they could come stand up here while I talk about them for a brief moment. In this group we have Nancy Probasco, Sherry Thielen, Mickey Mueller, and Jared Oswald, who is unable to be here this evening. But these are our 4 instructional coaches, and they are going to be receiving this plaque for their office. If one of you want to hold that, or you can all hold it, however you want to do it. And they're also receiving a $50 gift card to Hy-Vee, which is donated by our Hy-Vees. They are our sponsor for the Award for Excellence, so we appreciate their support as well. In addition, they will have $500 that they get to spend at their building or for their program in a way that will support what they do. I just want to read a few pieces of the nominations. They'll get the whole document, but there were some very nice comments. When nominations come in, they stay in the pool for a year. So some of these comments are from the end of last year as we had finished up some remote learning. So one person said, I would like to nominate the instructional coaches for the Award for Excellence for the efforts with remote learning this last year. In a short amount of time, that team was not only able to evaluate a remote learning program option for K-6 and 712, but they then built the entire curriculum within those programs aligned to our district priority standards. Someone else said they were constantly there in the beginning to help me prepare for this program. As we progressed through the semester, they were always willing to provide help whenever I needed it. They were a great sounding board, a cheerleader, and a calming influence when things seemed a little crazy. And one additional person that nominated them, they were nominated by multiple people, so that's why there's so many. They said, our instructional leaders have done an amazing job of responding to the many challenges thrown their way. The research that they do and then bring to the team is invaluable. I appreciate all of the legwork that they do to help our school district make the best decision possible for our kids. So I am very excited to present them with this award. Congratulations.
I particularly just wanted to mention that in the midst of the chaos of a pandemic, this team halted immediately what they were doing, which was normal to them, and shifted very quickly to helping seek out and select some online instructional materials for remote learning, and then, like she mentioned, do the detail work. There's just so much behind it. And the team of them really complement each other well, and unfortunately Jared's not here, but you know, they've evolved and they've kind of taken on a little icon of themselves. For example, Mickey, you know, I gave her a magnifying glass, because if we needed her to search and find something, she was relentless about seeking, and she could look digitally in places and ways and angles that the rest of us could not. And Sherry has a symbol of hourglass of time. She's extremely patient and calm, and when people are anxious and worried and nervous, she just kept calm and kept everybody just kind of, it's all right, we'll get there, we'll figure it out, including with students. So there were times they worked with students as well. And Nancy has the symbol of a lighthouse, because she's looking out and beyond and scanning the surface in multiple areas. A lot of times we'll see things beyond before we do, and helps us prevent going down somewhere we shouldn't go. And Jared, who's not here, but he his symbol is a symbol of gears. because he has a very unique way of being able to see multiple things come together and how dynamic they are and make other things work. And so just all of those perspectives in a team is extremely, it's very powerful. So, yeah.
Now, I had told them ahead of time, obviously, that they received this award so that they would be here, and told them they would have the opportunity to speak, but did not have to speak. Since they have papers, I'm guessing they want to say something.
Just a little bit. Well, thank you very much for this honor. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and we now know that the same can be said when it comes to creating a remote learning program from scratch. It takes a village. While we are honored to accept this award, we would feel remiss if we didn't acknowledge others who helped make this program a success.
So we have Jamie London. She's a SPED instructional coach. She was working diligently behind the scenes during remote learning, from analyzing the supports and accommodations embedded in the remote learning platforms, to Zooming with individual students to check up on their progress and needs. She was a vital part of the remote learning team.
We also want to recognize the 5 teachers who jumped into this opportunity not knowing what to expect. Becky Wolf, Ginger Powell, Connie Bennett, Allie Johnson, and Riley Besmer were patient, kind, and willing to learn and try new things. It was because of them and their day-to-day interactions with students and families that the remote learning program went smoothly and was a positive experience for those involved.
We also appreciate the help and support from administration, especially Eric Wilson and Beth Nelson. Both showed us patience and understanding as we navigated the challenges of developing this program.
At times, we felt like we were building an airplane while we were flying it. Every day was new and different, and we never knew what issue we might have to tackle. But as with anything in our office, we talk it out, we work together to create the best possible outcome.
Remote learning is one example of the challenges we have met head-on as a group. We will continue to do our best collectively to create opportunities for NPS and administrators, teachers, and students, and do our part to ensure that nothing prevents success.
Okay, thank you, and congratulations.
Congratulations. I loved how you accepted that award as a team. Just continued to work together, and it was very calming just hearing everything that you did, and I'm sure at very hectic times. So thank you for making that successful for Norfolk Public Schools. Thank you.
And one quick comment. I had the pleasure of working with Mickey for many years, and she saved me many, many times. And so I just wish the rest of your team was around when I was still teaching, that I would have loved to work with all of you. And Mickey, you're a lifesaver many, many times. So I appreciate you, what you did for me, and your whole team for what you're going to do in the future. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Again, if you want to sneak out, you're more than, it's okay. We are to public comments and communication. This is the time during the meeting when the public may request to address the board. If you wish to comment, we ask that you identify yourself, including your address, the name of the organization you represent, and the topic that you wish to address. Each individual's comments will be limited to 5 minutes. Please note that the board cannot discuss or act upon matters that are not listed on the agenda. Therefore, board members will not respond to your comments or questions. If you wish to request that an item be placed on a future board agenda, you may contact the superintendent or her assistant during normal business hours. Also note that concerns related to school personnel need to be addressed to the superintendent using the approved district protocol. Would anybody like to come up to the platform? Okay, thank you. 7, information and discussion items. Finance and Facilities Report. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. The total amount of claims to be approved on the consent agenda for the month of November by specific funds are listed below. Total amount of claims for the month of October is also listed for the activity fund. All these claims were reviewed earlier today by our Finance and Facility Committee. I would like to publicly thank everyone on the business office team for their hard work, not only during the audit, but for getting the school year off to a positive note. We had many new staff members to get on board using our new record system. There's a lot of extra paperwork and documentation as required for the use of the ESSER funds and other grants. These individuals always take these tasks on with grit, grace, and a positive attitude. So I'd like to point out Melissa Kohler, our District General Ledger, Amanda Lever, Activity Accounts, Nutrition Fund, Tricia Nathan, Payroll Benefits for the classified staff, and Ani Strong, Payroll Benefits for the certified staff. MBS is fortunate to have strong people in these positions. I'll entertain any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Robinson. 7.2, Teaching and Learning Report. Beth Nelson.
Thank you, Madam President. The teaching and learning team was heavily involved in the Professional Development Day held on Monday, October 25th. Their leadership influenced K-12 teachers in preparation for winter testing and SCAS testing, deep discussions on current CERN math pilot, and specific curriculum work in PE and music, as well as strategic work at the senior high. 3rd through 8th grade will be participating in a mid-year NSCAS growth assessment in December. The Nebraska statewide assessment is evolving to a through-year model. This is the first time this assessment is offered mid-year. I will be reporting on assessment changes at an upcoming study session. And although curriculum work has slowed down due to the sub-teacher shortages, we have still managed to move a lot of groups forward in proficiency scale and assessment development. A comprehensive report was given to the curriculum committee on November 5th. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Beth. 7.3, Student Programs Report. Mary Lord.
Thank you, Madam President. Our nurses, in our nurses section, CPR classes were held November 28th and 29th for the required staff in the district. Elkhorn Logan Valley Public Health Department provided 114 flu shots to our district staff. This is down 43 from last year. ELL teachers, our ELL numbers in the district for October 1st count are at 209, which is 4.7% of our total student population. Mental health providers, our licensed mental health practitioners at the high school presented to select staff at our October 25th PD Day regarding suicide awareness. And numbers for the district as of October 1st for special education are at 724, which is 16.2% of the student total population. I and several other special education staff participated in special education law virtual conference on November 4th and 5th. Any questions?
What does ELL stand for? Is it ELL?
English language learners.
So those are the people that don't know English.
The English is their second language.
Could be have proficiency, just language barrier.
Right. We, any student new to the district fills out a home language survey, and if there's 3 questions, and if in those 3, another language is spoken within the home, or the student uses another language, then we screen to see if they have a need to be in our ELL program.
Was there any specific, the special education law conference, was there any specific like category that there was like training or information on, or what does that include?
The keynotes, it's a lot of law. It's a lot of law. Yeah, it's a case study conference where they tell you about cases that have come across the court system and where we can look to prevent that. And it's best practice theology for you as you look at what has happened in the court systems across. And it's not actual as much training as it is informational for you and areas to make sure that you're doing the right things.
What's
for the
setting
right
precedent?
Right.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you. 7.4, Student Services Report, Eric Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the district safety team and I attended the two-day NDE Safety Summit in Kearney on October 19th and 20th. We were able to learn a lot more about the state's Safe to Help program and emergency operations planning that was shared at our study session. We are also in the process of finalizing our safety audit with Norfolk Police Department. Once complete, I will meet with individual building principals to discuss the recommendations and then share the results with the board at our next meeting. We have received notification that our Emergency Connectivity Fund grant was approved to assist with our purchase of student Chromebooks and teacher laptops. The tech team is working to finalize that ordering process as we want to make sure supply chain disruptions don't affect us getting those devices in a timely manner. And finally, we completed our fall parent-teacher conferences near the end of October. Attendance numbers are posted below. As a district, last year we were at 65.7% attendance. For this year, it's at 70.08. So a better attendance rating than we had last year, and we did have almost 500 families take advantage of the Zoom option. Answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Eric. 7.5, Human Resources and Accreditation Report, Angie Bowman.
Thank you, Madam President. On October 27th, I attended the Nebraska Educator Shortage Summit in Kearney. This summit was a gathering of school administrators, Nebraska State School Board members, ESU staff, college representatives, and NDE staff. The morning was spent determining the factors that are contributing to the educator shortage in the state, and the afternoon was spent on solutions and creating groups to move forward with solutions on individual topics. It was a day well spent in Kearney, and I will continue to be involved with the process moving forward.
What did you learn?
Well, you know, when we got all of those stakeholders together from all of those different areas at the same table, and they intentionally had us very spread out so that we had representatives from each area at each table, there was a lot of agreement on what might be causing the educator shortage in our state. Some of the moving forward areas that we will be focusing on is certification within the state, working on things like the praxis test that teachers have to take, and is that requirement still really, and the level of the requirement that we need, is that still something that needs to be in place, or can we look at changing that? We talked about teacher retention and what can we do in the state to keep our teachers from leaving the profession, and how to recruit new people into the colleges, into the profession, and those that get there to continue and finish their degree. So there were a lot of good discussions that came out on that. All of the staff that were there, all the people that were there are being divided up into all of those categories identified, and then we will get together as subgroups and talk about what can we do. Another area was PR and marketing for the profession of educators, and I believe that's the group I'll be in, but we haven't gotten all of that information back yet, and we'll start talking about what can we do statewide to get an increase and retain and recruit and all of those topics that we discussed. It's, yeah, it's everywhere. It's remote, it's metro, it's...
Thank you, Angie. 7.6, Superintendent's Report, Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Madam President. I have several short topics this evening, beginning with annexation. Our attorney has notified us that NDE has changed the process that is required to transfer land from one district to another following an annexation. This process no longer requires board action. I simply need to file documentation with Madison County once our 90-day waiting period is over. The transfer of taxes to Norfolk Public Schools will begin on July 1st, 2022. Second, the Commissioner's visit. The Commissioner of Education, Dr. Matt Bloomstead, and State School Board Member, Dr. Patty Googles, visited Norfolk Public Schools on October 29th. They visited with my central office administrative team regarding current issues and challenges within education, such as the staffing shortage that Angie mentioned, assessment requirements, school finance, and pandemic-related issues. Upon completion of our conversation, Dr. Bloomstead and Dr. Googles toured Lincoln Montessori, where Dr. Bloomstead learned more about the Montessori method of instruction and how it can be utilized as a way to offer parents more choices within public education. Norfolk is one of 3 Nebraska public school districts that offer this high-quality option for students. In regards to enrollment, our enrollment increased by 4 students last month, giving us a total of 4,478 students on November 1st. And the fun part, each December I host a holiday social for our board and administrative team. I will be sending you a doodle poll later this week to determine the date and time for the event, which is sponsored by D.A. Davidson. No school funds are utilized for this event, nor is any school business discussed. It is a way for us to get to know each other a little bit better in a less formal environment. I hope that everyone will be able to make it. And finally, I would like to congratulate Lauren Wagner on her new assignment, her new position with the Omaha World Herald as an education reporter. We will miss you, Lauren, but we wish you the best of luck in Omaha.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting that.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Committee reports, 8.1, Facilities and Finance Committee Report. Tammy Day.
Thank you. Yes, our Finance and Facilities Committee met at 11:30 today for a very long time and enjoyed each other's company. The claims for the month of November and activity claims for October were reviewed. The committee had many presenters today from Agri-City Insurance, Norfolk Public Transportation, and the City of Norfolk. Agri-City gave us an overview of our current insurance coverage and the rates for 2022. Norfolk Transportation presented what's currently going on with the public transportation efforts and talked about if NPS would start paying for transportation of students under the 4-mile radius, which we are obligated by statute and provide transportation outside of 4-mile radius for students, but they were asking if we would participate in additional services. And then the City of Norfolk provided additional information on its easement offer connected to the Benjamin Avenue project right around the middle school. So the committee then reviewed the following in addition to our presentations: updates on the current and future projects we have going, the proposed amended LSI contract due to the need to increase staff wages, which is on the agenda later, annexation, which Dr. Thompson mentioned, banking updates, and then we're in negotiation season, so brief discussion about that. So our next meeting will be on a very special day, which is Monday, December 13th, which is my birthday. Oh. I'm gonna go to a meeting for lunch, get my lunch paid for. Oh, God. Cute, Tammy.
I'm just curious, because I'm not familiar with, what is the easement offer that the City of Norfolk have they discussed that with us before? I just don't know any background on it.
We will be discussing that in executive session this evening.
Perfect, I will find out more.
It will all become very clear.
Okay.
A very long executive session. 8.2, Policy Committee Report. That is you, Jenna Hatfield.
Yes. Back on here, so I have it. The Policy Committee met on October 15th. The committee reviewed policies 5101 through 5208 related to students. There were only minor, non-substantive changes. However, it should be noted that the changes to social studies course offerings that are on the agenda tonight will result in the need to go back and revise policy 5205 regarding graduation requirements before its second reading. The committee also reviewed policy 6600 related to special education. Extensive changes have been made to this policy at the recommendation of our attorneys and the Nebraska Department of Education. Those changes reflect state and federal special education law. The district has always followed these laws, but we are now required to have a detailed policy documenting that we do so. So just basically document saying that we do what we say we do. The policy committee recommends the approval of the first reading of these policies.
Thank you, Jenna. 8.3, Curriculum Committee and American Civics Committee Report. Leanne Whitcomb.
Thank you. The American Civics Committee began its meeting at 2:00 p.m. on Friday, November 5th. Director Beth Nelson summarized the changes needed in course offerings at the senior high to meet an updated Nebraska State Social Studies standards. The graduation requirement of 30 credit hours remains the same. The changes of the required classes will impact graduates of 2026, or ninth graders of 2022-23. There will be a switch between 8th and 9th grade offerings of social studies where American History 1 occurs at the 8th grade and World History occurs at 9th grade. Also, economics now becomes a portion of our former Government World Studies class. You will see a motion regarding this later in the agenda. Instructional leader Nancy Probasco gave a short update on the TCI Social Studies pilot occurring in 5th and 6th grade. 7th grade will begin the TCI pilot this week. It is intended to have a program decision by the end of this semester. The American Civics Committee portion of the meeting concluded at 2:25 p.m. The curriculum portion of this meeting included a summary of the curriculum work that has been completed this fall. English, social studies, math, PE, and music have completed significant work. The 5th through 8th grade has held a vertical meeting to correspond alignment and determine a collective focus for selecting updated materials. A second meeting is scheduled to review programs and narrow down possible pilot items. A pilot with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt materials showed unfavorable results, so more searching is needed for a strong program decision. Other materials were being worked through the textbook adoption matrices with teachers including Savas, My Perspectives, College Board Springboard, and McGraw-Hill Study Sync. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th grade math have worked to align proficiency scales, create assessments and pacing guides. Math fluency implementation has also been a strong conversation among educators. Elementary music has worked on proficiency scales, and PE has worked on assessments. The K-7 math pilot has been centered on the program ZERN, which again is being analyzed by educators if it is better than Envision Math being used presently. The team is eager to analyze winter data from the pilot classrooms. There is a plan in place to purchase the updated K-5 ELA program Wonders. The vertical work of 6th through 8th grade will drive a determination on a purchase of ELA as well. And this is a lot, and we did this in like an hour and 15 minutes. I can't believe it. A lot of information and great teamwork by your team, Ms. Nelson. It was a good meeting.
Thank you, Leanne.
I wish the instructional coaches were still here because I think one of the most powerful things about some of these meetings is just the passion that the coaches bring to these meetings. I mean, they're really excited about this stuff, and it's not frou-frou-y stuff. So to be so excited about it and make a meeting exciting, I think that just helps so much. And I mean, you and your team, Beth, do such a good job. You guys have accomplished so much, and that's even with kind of the stops and starts that have had to happen with COVID, just making sure that we're not spreading our teachers too thin, involving them, but not pushing them beyond what their limitations are. I'm really proud of the work that you guys have been able to complete over between our curriculum meetings, because yeah, this is a huge update and a lot of just really complex and things have to be gone over, and I just always appreciate the level of just detail that you always use in evaluating the textbooks and the programs and everything like that. So good job to you and the rest of your team.
Okay, 8.4, Norfolk Public Schools Foundation Committee Report. Brenda.
The Norfolk Public Schools Foundation Board of Directors met on Monday, October 18th at 4:30 at the high school. The board members were present. I wasn't there, but Jake was, and
I wasn't there.
you weren't there either. I was there. Okay. So Jenna was there. Yeah, good job, Jenna. Jenna was there.
I only have a few meetings left, so.
Yes, thank you, Jenna, for doing. Should change that. Change it to Jenna was present.
Yes.
Austin Castleberry gave the board a tour of the career academies and showed the work of the foundation, because the foundation supported a lot of that career academies, raised money for. Following the tour, the board president, Bobby Tyson, called the meeting to order at 5:23. The board reviewed the meeting minutes from September and the financial reports from August. The foundation is inviting the public to our traditions breakfast, which was held on Thursday, October 28th at 7 a.m. at the Lifelong Learning Center. This is a main fundraiser for the year where we plan to celebrate the tradition of academic excellence in Norfolk Public Schools. And we raised over $34,000 at that traditions breakfast. It was a good one. All funds raised by this event will benefit the foundation and will help support students and teachers. So we hope you join us, and we're glad you joined us. And the next board meeting will be November 15th at 4:30. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Brenda. 8.5, minutes of committee meetings. The minutes of the November 2nd student health and nurses meetings are attached for review. We are now to consent agenda item. 9.1, the minutes of the previous meetings, minutes of the October 11th and October 28th meetings are attached for your review. 9.2, personnel. Dr. Thompson, contract approval.
Thank you. I have two contracts for your consideration this evening. Mackenzie Lamb is recommended for half-time art and half-time substitute teacher at the senior high beginning second semester. She is currently a student teacher at Pierce High School and Elementary School. And Michael Wright is recommended for the full-time special education teacher at the senior high, beginning second semester as well. He's currently a student teacher at Norfolk Senior High. And I just would like to note that both of these positions are positions that we were not able to fill at the beginning of the school year. Because we could not fill the art positions, we had to reduce the number of art sections that we offered at the senior high first semester. The special education position was filled with a long-term sub who will now go back into our sub pool.
Good hires. 9.2, resignations. There are none. 9.3, claims. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you. Attached are the claims for the month of November. As stated earlier, these were reviewed by the Finance and Facility Committee at noon today.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Tammy and a second by Jake. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. Action items, 10.1, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the 2021-2022 Emergency Operations Plan. Mr. Wilson.
Thank you, Madam President. This information from the Emergency Operations Plan was presented at the study session and given to you last week. I ask that you guys approve this for 21-22 school year. Thank you.
I would make a motion to approve the 2021-2022 Emergency Operations Plan.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by Jenna and a second by Brenda. Is there any discussion?
I would just make a quick comment again. Eric, thanks for all of the work to that and for all of your team. It's very thorough and very, very well done, so thank you.
Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 10.2, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the Lunchtime Solutions Contract Addendum. Dr. Robinson.
Thank you, Madam President. The staffing issues facing employers not only locally but across the nation has also affected Lunchtime Solutions, the district food management company. Over the past month, MPS has worked with LSI to develop a proposed adjustment to the current contract, which will allow LSI to increase its staff wages as well as other unforeseen cost increases, which are outcomes of the current pandemic. These adjustments have the approval of NDE and District Legal Counsel. This addendum has been reviewed by our Finance and Facilities Committee in detail. The cost of the increase of this addendum will not affect the overall fiscal health of the nutrition fund in an adverse way.
I have a question. Will we have to pass this cost on to students someday if we go back and have to charge meals? If like free and reduced lunch ends? If the, sorry, free lunches end?
We'd have to evaluate what our fund balance is and then what the reimbursement rate is next year at that time. So to answer that question for this year, the answer would be no. If all of a sudden free meals ended, the rates would be the rates that we've had the last 2 years. Moving forward to next year, that's always an annual review of that information.
And we can do that in July or?
We get reimbursement rates usually in the spring. I have a general idea, and it's usually, if there's a rate change in the lunch prices, it's something we'll do in the spring with the board, but the last 2 years we haven't done anything with lunch prices, so.
And that's been
Otherwise, every time we go back and reevaluate our contract with Lunchtime Solutions, they could, in their contract, have a rate change for their employees, but this one required an addendum because it was happening in the middle of a contract.
Well, we just did a new contract in the spring, and it's a fixed price contract. So if you were going to surpass the CPI, which this did, for increasing the staff wages, you have to officially make an addendum. Now, the legal counsel said, also the contract stated, due to a pandemic, as long as you don't surpass more than 10% of the overall value of the contract, that's fine. But I felt to be safe, we better still go through the process with NDE and bring it to the board because it is a contract addendum. And I want to be as transparent as all over the place with this. That questions like you had and all that, this isn't for them to pocket more money. It is so they can pass this on to employee wages.
I make a motion to approve the Lunchtime Solutions Inc. contract addendum.
I second that.
We have a motion by Tammy and a second by Leanne. Is there any further discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. I mean, much like what we needed to do with our pairs is what they're doing, is they're trying to get the level up there so that they can hire quality people and pay them.
They short people too, do you know?
Yes.
10.3, discuss, consider, and take action regarding social studies course offering for 2022-2023. Beth Nelson.
Due to the changes in the Nebraska Social Studies state standards, we have made some adjustments to course offerings at junior and senior high schools. World History and American History 1 have switched, and the inclusion of economics appears with government and world cultures. Geography, although not required for graduation, still remains a part of elective course offerings. These changes will go into effect beginning next year and have a graduation impact on the class of 2026. The follow-up adjustment will be made in Policy 5205 and the handbooks for next year. All changes regarding social studies curriculum and purchased resources have been reviewed with the Civics Committee. And then there's just kind of an outline that just shows the graduation requirements on the left, the grade that it typically happens in, the name of the course. There's the former lineup and the new lineup and who that impacts.
So geography is not required anymore, or was it required and now it's not?
Correct. It's just every 7 years, the state goes through adjustments in standards, and for whatever particular reason, they felt like economics became more of a forefront of a priority as opposed to geography.
When I think of econ, I think of business, but it must be.
I know, it's all out.
Okay, well, I didn't know if I was going to.
No. I would validate that confusion.
Okay, well, I was confused.
So Beth, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, world economics,
Yeah, it must be world.
Yeah, from that perspective.
Do these changes affect the AP classes that were offered in this social studies area, or will that stay the same?
That will stay the same. Those elective courses stay the same.
Okay, so if you take AP Gov, you don't get the economics component?
Well, see, there's a 5-5 split there. So you can take world cultures, geography, or I'm sorry, world studies and econ as 5 credits.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the changes in the 2022-23 social studies course offerings at the senior high that are required for graduation and to meet the updates in Nebraska social studies standards as reflected in the chart above.
I would second that motion.
We have a motion by Leanne and a second by Jenna. Is there any further discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. 10.4, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of board policies 5101 through 5208 related to students. Dr. Thompson.
Thank you. As noted previously by Jenna, the policy committee has reviewed these policies and are recommending that they be approved for first reading tonight with only minor non-substantive changes.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of board policies 5101 through 5208 related to students.
I'll second. We have a motion by Jake and a second by Tammy. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. And we are to 10.5, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the first reading of board policy 6600 related to special education. Dr. Thompson.
Again, the policy committee reviewed this policy and recommends that it be approved on first reading tonight. The policy has been revised per the recommendations of our school attorney and the Nebraska Department of Education. It's really a close match to state and federal law and to the things that we're already doing within our district.
I make a motion to approve the first reading of board policy 6600 related to special education.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Leanne and a second by Brenda. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary. So that brings us to the end of our meeting. There will not be a second meeting of the month in November. The next regular meeting of the Board of Education will be held on Tammy's birthday, Monday, December 13th. The study session will begin at 5:30 and the regular business meeting will start at 6:30. All components of these meetings will be held at the MPS Central Admin offices and will be open to the public unless an executive session is needed in order to protect the interest of the district or the reputation of an individual. With that, we do need to go into executive session to discuss negotiations, a potential real estate transaction, and potential litigation as needed to protect the interest of the district.
I make a motion to convene an executive session to discuss negotiations and a potential real estate transaction as needed to protect the interests of the district.
And potential litigation.
Oops. And potential litigation. Sorry, I was reading one now.
I'll second that.
Sorry.
That motion.
Okay, we had a motion by Tammy and a second by Brenda. Is there any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carried 6-0.
Thank you, Mary.
I believe that it's likely that we will have an action following executive session. However, I would warn you, it will probably be quite lengthy because we have 3 different topics to discuss this evening. So it's up to you whether you stay for that or not.